Hey guys, welcome to the part 1 of Advanced Dashboard UiUx Design with Figma. So in this particular video, we'll be starting with our design brief, creating our mood board, then diving into details of how we can create our actual dashboard UI design from the mood board we have created. Please guys, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up because this is how I get more encouraged to create more videos like this. Thank you so much guys. Let's dive into the video. So for this course, we'll be creating an e-tutor software for instructors. So basically this software is aimed at providing users with a platform to discover and enroll in online courses taught by experts in their various fields. So these are the key features. So the key features are course management, content management, and interaction and communication, performance analysis, feedback and review. Feedback and review has to do with communication with instructors and students, students with instructors. So the first key feature we'll be focusing on is the course creation. So for instructors to be able to create and set up their courses, we'll also focus on the performance analysis where the instructors is going to see the amount of courses they have created, numbers of students that have enrolled, amount of money that has been made from their course. So that's basically what we're going to be starting with. So in case you want to create your own design brief, so this is basically the design brief we're using for the dashboard design for this course. But if you want to create a design brief for any imaginary project you want to use for your portfolio, so you can basically use ChatGPT to create your design brief, because most of all the design brief can help you in designing your case study. So the ChatGPT can help you come up with a good design brief. So as you can see, for this course I use ChatGPT to come up with a design brief. So this is basically the prompt I used. So I'm going to be adding this prompt to the design brief PDF, so which will be attached below this video. So this is basically the prompt. I'm a UI UX designer. I need a design brief for an e-tutor software that helps people find the best course online and learn with experts anytime, anywhere. So just list the key features of the instructor dashboard. So ChatGPT was able to produce all this for me. So basically, if you have any idea on your head or any design you want to come up with for you to for your case study, so you can come up with a design brief for with ChatGPT. This design brief created by ChatGPT looks very professional, and this can be used on your portfolio to showcase your design goals and design futures. So that's basically it. So this is the prompt I used, and ChatGPT was able to provide me with a design brief I can use for this design. So mind you, this design brief is usually provided by the client. So for instance, if a client needs a UI UX design of any application, whether a mobile app, a website, or a dashboard design, so most times they provide a design brief of what the application is going to look like, what they have in mind for the application to look like. So most times some clients don't provide design briefs, they just give you the goal statement. So it's up to you as an experienced designer for you to come up with the features of that particular application that they want to the particular goal rather they want to solve, what the application is going to entail. So for example, for a dashboard always have a specific way in which they look. A dashboard must have a home screen that shows the analysis, always have a list. So most of the times the content of a dashboard changes depending on the project goal. So don't forget to always ask your clients questions, areas where you don't understand, because instead of you to be assuming that this is the particular feature they want. So in a scenario where a client does not provide a design brief, you can create one and you can show them, so that you and the client can discuss it over a cup of coffee or over a Google Meet call to clarify the features that they have in mind based on the design brief that you already created. So I just decided to add this there so that you can be more clearer on what you doing whenever you're starting a project. So whenever I want to get design inspiration for my dashboard UI, so the first thing I do, this is after I've gone through the brief and understand what the client wants me to do or what the project goal is. So the first thing I do is to come to Google and do a random search. I just search for dashboard UI inspiration, and as you can see, it comes out with plenty different places where we can get dashboard inspiration. So I don't just limit myself to only Dribble and Behance. So that's why I come to Google, because there are different places where we can get dashboard inspiration. You can see Muslin. We can also get from Medium. So that of Medium will be covering it later. So that's the first thing I do. So I click on the first link, and this leads me to a Dribble, because the why is best to come to Google first is because it filters down everything on. For example, you want to see dashboard inspiration on Dribble. So this in Google, it filters out all the dashboard instead of going to Dribble directly to search for dashboard inspiration. It might be mixed up maybe with different things, maybe mobile and other things that are not related to dashboard UI. So this method actually helps me. So this is what I see. So as you can see, because I use Google, everything I'm seeing here from A to Z is everything about dashboard. So one way in which I get inspiration is, for example, I might see a particular design. One of the things I focus on when trying to get inspiration is to look at the theme, look at the color, the use of color, the dashboard structure, because that's one of the things we are trying to figure out for this particular project. Want to know how we're going to structure the dashboard. So as you can see in this particular design, there is no sidebar. Instead, the navigations are at the top. So this is not like the conventional dashboard that have sidebar where you can navigate through the sidebar. This particular design has the navigation at the top where you can navigate to different page, and I see this in so many dashboard UI in 2024 that have this kind of navigation, not the conventional sidebar. So if, for example, you want to go with this particular design, you right click, copy, and go to your Figma file and paste it. So I advise when coming up with any projects, when opening when, for example, you have a project you are working on and you open a brand new Figma file, so I advise you create a page in that Figma file that you call MoodBoard, where you keep different inspiration that you want to get, different designs that you want to get inspiration for your designs. As you can see, I've copied and pasted this here, and I named this particular page MoodBoard. You can create another one for your main design where you can come up with your main designs. So this particular page is for all our MoodBoard. So as you can see, there was a time I was dragging, I was coming up with different inspiration for a particular design. So as you can see, all these are Behance and Dribble shots. As you can see, this dashboard, it has different themes, different colors, different feel. So most times it's not really good to look at one place when coming up with inspiration, because you need to look at as many samples as possible so that you can come up with something very unique. That's one thing I wanted to note when getting inspiration. So as you can see, all the inspiration here all have their own unique feel, unique theme, the use of colors. So you can get the use of colors, the way colors was being used, the way the structure was being used. So yeah, so that's it guys for Dribble. So the next website we're going to review from our Google search is Behance. So Behance contains thousands of dashboard UI inspiration. So you can review any type of dashboard designs you want. So most of all these designs here on Figma are from top-notch designers. So I so much love Behance. So whenever I want to get inspiration on dashboard, after going through my design brief, I come to Behance to get as many inspiration as possible for me to feed my creative eye before I jump into my canvas. So let me pick a particular design. So let me say I want to get inspiration from this particular one. You click on the particular one you want, so you can review. So most of what the design you find on Behance can actually give you an inspiration of how you're going to come up with your UI case studies. So in case you want to, after you design your dashboard, you want to create a case study about it. So you can also get inspiration on how to come up with your case studies on Behance. So as you can see, this is how those person arrange their case study. It looks very visually appealing. So let me say, for example, I want to take inspiration from this particular case study. So I'll come to this section where you can see the dashboard mockup. So you can screenshot this. So for Windows, I'm using Shift and Print Screen to screenshot this particular design. Then I'm going to paste it on my Figma mood board. So this is how most of the time I do whenever I see a design on Behance, because Behance is not like Dribble where you can right click to save a particular image. So that's why I use screenshots, Shift plus print screen to grab most of the designs I see on Behance. So the next one from our Google search is this particular account on Medium, which is the Make Design. So this particular account posts dashboard inspiration every week. So I advise you sign up to Medium newsletter so that you can get notified whenever this account make posts on dashboard UI inspiration. So the next on the list is Pinterest. So many people don't know this. So you can get dashboard UI inspiration from Pinterest. So you can come here, feed your eyes with as many designs as possible, copy and paste on your mood board. So we also have UI Garage. So UI Garage contains dashboard inspiration of already existing products. So you can come here, look at the flows, and also use it to create your mood board. So based on the Google search we made, you can also explore other examples of dashboard inspiration to also create your mood board. Guys, welcome back. So in this particular video, we'll be covering how to come up with your actual design. So these are some of the mood board I've already created, some of the design inspiration that I've gotten from Dribble, Behance, then Make Design on Medium. So these are all my designs, inspiration. So I kept everything on my mood board. So the actual one I'll be taking inspiration from, let me bring this close. So I like bringing the actual one that I want to use with my design very close to the section where I'm designing. I'll also bring this closer because most times when coming up with a mood board, you might come up with different mood board, but in line with the project goal, there are some kind of designs that will just struck your eyes and you know that, oh, this is actually design, this is actual design structure I'm using for this particular design. So remember, what we are creating is for an EduTech Tutors dashboard. So the first thing, we're going to create the first dashboard homepage. So these are already the assets we are going to be using. We're making use of all these assets. So I just brought this in so that we'll be taking from here. So but though I will teach you how to create this from scratch. So we'll be taking other assets from here too. So for our design, so the first thing we're going to do, so we're going to use a 1440 frame. So let me get the frame so you can see a 1440 frame. So there is also some dashboards, some dashboard screen rather, that has 1920, but for this we're using a 1440 for sorry, let me delete this and go with this one. Going with our 1440, so that's what we're actually using. So the first thing you need to do after creating your desktop screen, let's rename this to dashboard homepage. The first thing we're going to do is to create our grid, but we're going to also define the size of our sidebar. So we're going to define the size of our sidebar. We're making use of 208, that's because it's with multiple of 8. So before we move to creating our grid, I will introduce you to something called the red square method. This is actually going to help us in defining our spacing for our project. So the red square method is actually creating squares in the multiple of 8 so that you can use it to achieve consistent spacing in your UI design. So right now, all my spacing, your spacing in any UI design project can either be 4 or 8, but for this particular design, we're making use of multiple of 8. So this is how I create my red square method. So the first one is going to be 8. So width of 8 and height of 8, I'll color this red. So you're going to see how I'm going to be using it in a bit. So I had to define my spacing first before I go into drawing the sidebar spacing and also the grid, because this is actually what we're going to use for the spacing between the content area of our dashboard and the sidebar. So I'll cover all of that later in a bit. So the first one is 8. The second one is going to be, we're going to add 8 plus 8 to the 8 we already have here, which is going to give us 16. 8 plus 8 is 16. So remember, we're using numbers that are divisible by 8. So 16 plus 8 is going to give us 24. 24 plus 8. 24 plus 8 will give us 32. So this is actually going to be the structure of our spacing. 34 plus 8 is going to give us 40. 40 plus 8 is going to give us 48. So we're going to use 48. So that's going to be our highest spacing we're going to use. So most times when coming up with your dashboard design, the first thing you need to create is the structure of your dashboard. As you can see, this particular dashboard here has a particular structure. It has a section at the top where it has some navigations, logos, search bar, notification, message, and the person's account. It also has another sidebar here, and it also has different cards that shows different analysis of what they are trying to project. So what I'm going to be stealing from this particular design here is the color of their background. So the background is not pure white, it's what's it called? It's like a lighter shade of blue. So for this now, before we go into that, okay, let me get my logo, because through my logo I'm going to get the color I'm going to be using. So let me copy this down. So whenever you're creating any project for your portfolio, or if you're following along while watching this video, if you want to create a unique logo, you can make use of Pen tool to create a unique logo, or there are Figma plugins that give you access to already designed logos. So we have logo creators, we have logo fetch, so you can install those plugins and get a logo sample. So with this, I'm going to use this is it. So I will just change, I don't want to use orange, I will just change it to blue. I will change it to this blue. I can go for purple, but let me just go for blue. So with this now, this is my color. So I just want to save it so that I can use it. This is my main color. Call it primary color. So with that now, so with that, I'm going to do that. Then look for my primary color. This is my primary color, so I'm basically going to give it a lighter shade of blue for my background color, then give my sidebar pure white. So there's a kind of theme I want to have. So remember when I said earlier that for my sidebar is 208, which is divisible by 8. So I want it a little bit bigger, so I'm going to add it to the 208. So 8 plus 8 is going to give us 216. So let me add one more 8 to it. I just want it to be a little bit larger. So now you see the reason why I decided to create the red square method. So now I want to define the spacing between my sidebar and the content area. So you have to create your content area because that's where the main content of your dashboard is going to be. So just follow along, guys. You're going to understand. So for the spacing, so I'm going to go to my red square method and I'm going to making use of 32. So I'll keep 32 here, duplicate 32 here, because the spacing between here and here has to be consistent. Spacing between the content area. So just follow me, you understand what I mean. So the next one, I'm going to draw a frame inside here. This frame is going to be my content area. It doesn't have to have a color, so I'll just keep it there. So I made sure the frame laps to this red square because we want to maintain consistency. So just be with me, you understand what I'm doing. So the next thing now I'm going to do is to create my grid in this content area. The sidebar here, we don't need grid for this sidebar because for us to maintain consistent space in our sidebar, we're going to make use of the red square method. But for the content area, we're going to make use of our grid. That's why we use frame. If you use square as here, you won't be able to add grid to it. So because we made use of frame to draw this content area section, we cannot add grid to it. So I'm going to be adding my column grid. It's going to be 12 column, and the quarters is always 24 for all web projects. And when you want to come up with your website design or anything that's going to be viewed through web, these quarters have to be 24. So I can decide to make this center. So let me make this center then so that it can have a width. So I'll click on the 8 there on my width here. I'll just click on it so that the 8 will be selected. Then I'll increase the number until it laps to the red square. So as you can see, its lapse is actually 78. Let's confirm 78 is divisible by 8. Yeah, so that's it. So our width for our grid is divisible by 8. So now we have our grid for our content area. So the next thing now we're going to do is to start putting in content for our sidebar. So most times when I'm coming up with designs, I'll go back to my MoodBoard again to still feed my eyes so that I will know exactly what I want to achieve. So right now the dashboard we're going to create is very, very simple, because if you know the principles of creating this dashboard, you can start with, right now we're starting with creating the simplest dashboard, knowing how to create it. So when you know how to maintain consistency in your spacing, coming up with cards and that, so you can always come up with any crazy style, any crazy design structure. So right now we're starting from the basic so that you can learn how to come up with consistent spacing, because spacing, most times spacing is being ignored in dashboard UI design by junior designers. There's a lot spacing can do to your designs. Taking spacing can take your design from number 1 to number 100% rather, because it makes your design look very professional and beautiful. So you're going to see that in a bit. So right now, watch how I use my red square method. So for my logo, let me change the white to black. Let me give it a bluish black. I'll just bring it here. So now, if you watch this, we cannot just start. One mistake junior designers do is to start dumping things on the canvas or on your frame. So you might be wondering, Coach, why do you introduce us to the red square method instead of telling us we'll be using auto layout for our spacing? So the truth about being a junior designer, especially when starting out in UI/UX designer, is that you might not get your spacing right. Most times you might be designing elements, you don't know that those things you are designing, the spacing within elements is not consistent. Why I'm able to say this is because I was once a junior designer and I suffered with spacing a lot. So when I came across this red square method and I used it to guide myself, it was very, very helpful, especially being a newbie. Then with that, the red square method actually helped me to know how to use auto layout to my very best. You might not know this, but that's just the truth. You will be making use of auto layout, will be doing it wrongly. So you will see how we apply the red square method in this dashboard design of the home page and in other inner pages will be designed for this video. You'll see how we make use of the red square method, and we also see how we make use of auto layout. So with that, you can apply this method of spacing in your project and you achieve a very consistent spacing in all your projects. So let's go back to designing the sidebar. So now the first thing I want you to notice is that when designing a sidebar, most junior designers, they tend to forget this. They just place the logo anywhere they want. I want this to be non-transparent. Let's go with non. So this is one of my base fonts. So I want this to be a bluish black. I want it to be black, but I want it to be, yeah, this is it. Okay. So you might not notice this when starting out as a UI/UX designer. So me right now, I'm talking from experience. So let's leave this at sounds. Let's just leave this at sounds. So there is a spacing between this logo and this place here, and there's a spacing between this logo and a space here. There's a spacing between this logo and a space here. That's why most times when starting out in UI/UX, most of the design that you come up with, if a developer follow what you did to come up with the coded version of your design, it looks awful because most times your spacing is not consistent. And most times when these designers code your design, they make use of defined components where they just call in the spacing and they use it. So if you don't make use of either multiple of 4 or by 8, and these are the principles computers use to transmit most of all these our web pages, you are going to be giving the developer some problem translating your designs to code. So for this spacing between this logo and here, I'm taking my time to explain this so that you understand. So now I'm going to make use of 40, my 40 red square here. I'm making use of 40 for the up part. So I'll also for the side, I want to make use of 32. Let me make use of 32 for the side. So also place 32 here, on the side here. So the next thing I want to figure out now is to start bringing in other navigations that will lead to other pages. So I already have my assets here. So I'll just go here and pick my text. So let me do that quickly. Take 10. Why I brought in on this asset is so that we won't be taking time going to different icon packs within them from scratch. The main thing is to want to learn how to structure our dashboard. Drawing a text is very simple. Coming up with the text rather is very simple. So this is our element of our sidebar. So let me look for the first content. So all this I'm going to make it black so that it will be visible. Really save this so that I can reuse it easily. So now this is our content of our dashboard. So another thing now we need to define. Let's go back to our MoodBoard to feed our eyes. Most time if I'm designing something, I don't just focus on like one MoodBoard. If I want to, just now we're trying to come up with a sidebar. We'll go to our MoodBoard and see how they structure their sidebar and just pick up one or two inspiration from there. I like what they did here. I like the select here. The hover effect here is kind of curvy, so I like that. So I'll be stealing that. So let's go to this one. So another thing I want to notice is spacing between the text and the logo. So let me go back to our design. Just be with me, you understand. So for this particular design, let me move this downward. The spacing between the logo and this text, let me group this. So move it down. So right now, for those of you that are starting from scratch to create your logo and your text, so let me teach you. If you're making use of the red square method, let me teach you how to, for example, you want to get a logo and you want to bring it into your design, because right now I already have assets that are designed, so you might not really know how to place it. So let me just show you. So one major thing is that when coming up with a design, you have to get an icon pack that has the same icons that are designed the same way, that have the same style. So most times you can go to Figma community and get icons, free icons that all have the same style. So just go to Figma community, search for icon pack, and you see a lot of icons. So you copy one of them, duplicate them, and use it for your project. So that's what I do most times when coming up with my designs. So let's take, for example, now you have your icons, you bring in your icons into your file. So what you have to do is to make sure your icon is close to the red square. So as you can see now, this particular icon is touching the red square like this. You make sure the tip is touching the red square. So as you can see, this particular icon here, this logo icon here, is touching the red square. So that's going to help us to ensure consistent spacing. Then for your text, the spacing between your icon and your text, here I made use of 12. I did not want it to be too wide. 8 was too small, so I had to use numbers that are divisible by 4. So that's why I used 12 here for the spacing. So with this now, you can maintain consistent spacing between your icon and your text. So that's it for that. So let's move on with structuring our dashboard. So right now, the spacing between this logo and our text. So we're going to make it, let's bring it down. So I'll duplicate this square twice, 40 twice. So I'll move this upward. That's like 80, which is divisible. 80 is divisible by 8. 80 is too much. Most times you might do something and you discover that it's too much. You just have to reduce it. Just have to reduce it. So let me go back. The next following, I'm came back to my mood board. Just want to get inspiration how the sidebar was being crafted. So we'll come, but that's this method I'm showing you now. This is how I do to come up with my dashboard design. Most times your canvas is going to be scattered. You won't have a neat canvas when designing. So let me place my line. So I'll drag my line. So I want to have a line there. So just give it our bluish black and make it a little bit faint. Make this a little bit faint. Maybe make it 32. Making this 32. So that's it for our line. So with this now, I'll just bring this here, 40, or better still, I'll make it 48. Make it 48 for the spacing between the text and the. So then I'll bring this up. Just be with me, guys. The time this our dashboard looks so sleek. So remember what I said about the icons lapping. As you can see, this laps. So most times this particular icon is not touching the red square. As you can see, it's not touching, but it's still okay because we have the first one has already touched. So that means everything is aligned, because most times different icons have different shapes and sizes. So something about icons is quite funny. So that's just it. So as you can see, that is placed well. So let's quickly change our text to Nito Sans, because that's what we are using. So let me change it to Nito Sans. So as you can see, we have that here. So the next thing we're going to place is the sign in. If somebody wants to log out, sign out rather, somebody wants to sign out of the platform, I'll copy this, then bring it into dashboard. So I'll just drag this down and drag this down, and I'm going to let me bring this only. So mind you, we're not just placing this anyhow. We're going to define the spacing between this and this. So I also want us to also have like the user account showing below. So let's start with this first. So this is basically a user image, the icon to show if the person is online, and the person signed in, the name and the three dots. So let's basically remove this. I don't want us to have this, so it's up to you. You can put that depending on the project goal. So for this now, the spacing between this is 15. As you can see, I'm using auto layout here. I can still decide to use my red square method. So I just right click, when to add auto layout, and just make the system spacing between these elements to be 16. So making it 16. So remember, there's a spacing between here and here, so I don't want us to forget that. So let's go back to our red square and get 32, because that's basically what we're using. We're making use of 32. So place it here. place it here. I'll also place another 32 here. So make sure it laps, okay? Then we can move this inward a bit. So this is 14. So 14 is still divisible by 4. So let's just shift this inward and make it to lap. So make the spacing to lap a bit. So it's 15. So we can still leave it. It's just 1 pixel different. So for our line, we're going to use 16 up and 16 bottom because there is a spacing between here and there's a spacing here and here, immediately in the center. So I want to make sure that spacing is consistent. So if I make it of 32, it will be quite big. So let me make use of 16 to see how it will look. If it's too small, I'll increase it to 32. So yeah, this is how things are being done when designing a dashboard. So I'll get the 16 here, keep it at the up parts, keep it at the up parts, and make sure the line is placed very well. So I'll just extend the line to the edge over here. So right now you can see how I'm making use of the red square method, but not just dropping things in the canvas. You can see how I'm applying auto layout, which is making things super easy, and I know where my elements are going. Is super clear. I kind of love this font, but let me change it to the one we're using. Everything is super clear. You know what you're doing. We're not just dumping things on the canvas. By the time we remove the red square, you'll notice that everything is looking so beautiful. So everything is looking so beautiful by the time we remove it. So let's go back to, let's make this line more thin. We'll touch the line later. So right now what we're focusing on is the spacing between this element and this one, so that we're able to place the sign in there. So let me change this to this color. So I'll just go with my 48. So so instead of me adding it to this, I will just keep on adding 48 like this. So I'll just group this. Let me just make it auto layout in case I want to duplicate it again. So you just follow me, you see what I'm doing. I'm doing this because I want to make sure this thing is placed evenly. So as you can see, there the lines, the red and orange line that is showing me the spacing between those two elements, showing that it's in the center. So with that, I can leave it there and it's white aligned. So I'll delete this. We don't need this anymore. So delete everything, and we have our sidebar. Let me remove it so that you can see how our sidebar look like. So there's everything is beginning to come together, but there is we need to make sure this thing here is consistent. This is too low. So what we're going to do, we're going to make use of 16. We'll place 16 here, bring it to the top, or I'll make use of 24. Let's go with 24. We'll bring 24 here, bring 24 here. So I'll make sure it's at the center. So at the center, let's move this one so downward. It happens in that's only slowly in. So yeah, you can see 2 pixels downward. This is at the center and is well placed. So remember, we let me confirm if the exact spacing here is okay. Yeah, spacing is consistent. Delete it. So as you can see, we'll have our sidebar. We did not just dump things on the canvas. So now I need to work on this line. The line is not looking great. So let me take the color that was used here, copy this, and paste it here, copy the color code and paste it there. And now this is our sidebar. So you can, most times when I come up with something, I go through, I look at it, especially when the client does not want their design very real. I just have to like take my time to come up with the design to make sure the design look excellent. I go back to my mood board, come back again, just like that. So most times creating a very good design, it takes time, takes a little bit of time. Most times you might start a project, but you're starting on a blank canvas. You don't know where to start from. Your hand is blank. Even the inspiration you are seeing, things you want, despite the fact you see the inspiration, it will not still come together the kind of concept you want to use for your dashboard. We'll always have that kind of down moment when you are design block, you don't know what to do. So we'll all face that kind of issue as designers. I don't know why this line and the other line is okay. Let me just copy and replace it here. Place it here. Okay. So now we have our sidebar looking so neat and consistent. So in a situation where if a user clicks, all these are regular, let me increase the weight of this to bold since it's the logo. So increase all these to, this is medium. Okay, let me change it to the font using. So these I just go through the work I'm doing to make sure everything is consistent. Then I'll go back to my mood board again to see how the active vision looks like. So as you can see, I'm going back to my mood board. Most times you might not even be okay with what you have on your mood board. You have to go back to dribble. But I'm just sharing with you exactly what I do when I'm coming up with a design for a client's work. After going through the design brief, coming up with a particular design concept for the homepage. Because one major thing about UiUx is that when you're starting a project, either a mobile app, website, or dashboard, if you get the first screen right, the remaining screens is going to be very easy for you. So most times it's just for you to get the first screen right. Right now we're trying to come up with our dashboard. We're still on the dashboard home screen. We're trying to work on how the field is going to look, how the elements are going to be structured. So we're still on that. So if you get this right, the other pages are going to come very, very easy. So I don't know, my internet here is quite slow. So most times if I go through what I have on my mood board and it's not okay with me, I go back to dribble, go back to Behance to get more inspiration. Most times your canvas might be very, very scattered. It will not be always need to be scattered with different things because you're trying to get inspiration from different places to come up with your dashboard design. So next thing we're going to do is to create our hover effects when this is being selected on. So now picking this curvy. So let me make this blue. Then this is my hover. So making this white. Let me see how that looks. Make this white. So I was thinking of making all this medium. This regular is looking kind of tiny. Making all this medium. Semi-bold rather. This one does not have medium. It has semi-bold. So make this semi-bold. Also this. Make this semi-bold. Go down to this one. This one. Let's leave it at regular. Still okay. If I'm not okay with it, we'll change it later. So for this, let me use our 16 pixel by the side. Oh, sorry about that. Bring 16 pixel here, 16 pixel here. So let me place my elements. I just want it to look this way. Let me see. Okay, I think that will work too. Delete, make sure the text is in the center. Just move it upward and make sure text is in the center. So let me check whether this is divisible by 8 to be sure. That's it. Okay, it's divisible by 8. So let's make sure it's in the center. So now we have that. So we can delete this. Okay, so our dashboard is coming together. It's coming together. I'm thinking of changing the font to Ninato, not Ninato Sans. I'm thinking of changing it to Ninato. So let's just leave it this way. It looks great. So let me make this a little bit round, give it 8 around. And thinking of increasing this range. Sorry. Oh, so get it. So sorry, that time I was saying I wanted to check if it's divisible, the width and height is divisible. I was making use of the width instead of the height. So this is, let me just make this 40. 40 is divisible by 8 and make sure it's in the center. So yeah, this is how it looks. So right now our dashboard, our sidebar looks great. So the next one we'll be going is to start placing elements in our content area. So that will be the next thing we'll be working on. Welcome back, guys. So remember, we're working on an e-store software. So remember the major goal of this dashboard, providing users with a platform to discover and enroll in an online course taught by experts in various fields. So the feature was starting with the design for a performance analysis where they can track student progress, see analysis, present a structure with comprehensive analysis, and report tools to assess effective courses. So the main thing is that most times when going through your design brief, you might have a visual vision of how you want the design to be. So you might go as far as using your notepad to draft out some inner pages, because most times some clients provide you with briefs that are kind of like skeletal briefs, not like a brief that explains everything in details. So you are the one that will flesh out, okay, since we're dealing with so goal, like for example, these are e-tutor software, we should have a main dashboard. The first dashboard should have a create new course where the e-tutors can create new course, can see where we also have a section where they can see all their courses, they can see the earnings, how much they have sold, how much courses they have sold to the students. They can also message the students, so they can message them. They can also see the settings. So the content area is going to contain analysis where they can see the total money they have earned, the total number of students enrolled, progress of their courses. So that's what we're going to be focusing on for the content area. So most times when you are handling a project, you have to open the brief by your side. What I do is that I make sure the brief is open. I go through the brief as often as I can so that I can always be in sync in what the project is all about, not to forget anything at all. So that's just basically just to keep yourself in sync with the major features that the client wants. So let's go back to our canvas. So the next one we're going to design for is the header. So the header is going to basically have just like a good morning text, and also a place where they can search and also see a notification on person's account. So I already have that. All the assets I'll be using for this video, I already have them here, so that although we'll be creating some from scratch, so that I can show you how I was able to create this. So let's paste our assets here. So this is what we're basically going to use. So mind you, we're not leaving our red square method left out. So we're going to use 24. Why I'm using this is I want to be sure the exact spacing that was used from top to bottom. Just be with me. Stand or increase the length of this, because the same spacing we use for that place is the same spacing we're going to use for this particular asset we want to design for this particular section of dashboard we want to design for. We have to make sure the spacing here is equal to the spacing we have for this sidebar. So just be with me, you understand. So without the red square method, most times newbies or junior designers tend to just dump things on the screen, but the red square method helps you to like figure out, okay, this white space that is here, what measurement am I going to give for the white space, what measurement am I going to give for this white. But there are different white space we're seeing here. There's a white space here, this is a white space, this is also a white space, we have white space here. All this white space we're seeing here, we don't just dump things on the screen. Everything is actually calculated. So that's one advantage of making use of the red square method. So let me change this to the font I'm using. So I'm using Neon Tool Sans. I love this font so much. Neon Tool Sans. I just want to change it to that. So we have to sounds. So I'm going to make use of my text color that I've already defined. Let's see. Okay, make use of my text color already defined here. So I already have text color that I've been using. Do the same for this. Give this reduce the opacity and make it a little bit faint. So that's it for that. So, and the spacing between the two texts, we can make use of auto layout. So you can also make use of the red square method for this, but you can also make use of auto layout too. So yeah, so the spacing here is 6. Let me make it 8. Because remember, we're using multiple of numbers that are divisible by 8 rather. So I'm also going to bring in this here and place it nicely. Yeah, so then we'll zoom in and make sure it is placed at the top like this. So right now we are going to move our grid so that we can see what we are working with. So don't worry about the red boxes, I'm gonna remove it. So let's try to confirm the ranges I use for that, so that each and every asset is going to be consistent. So that's one thing about designing. Junior designers, they don't know this, they just feel they dump things on the screen, but most times it's not like that. Even when coding, the developers make use of reusable components. Like they don't code things from scratch. So most times I'll be talking about that in another video. Let me not digress. So I want to change this to our color. So our color go to with fence. Also be saying changes to auto. Back consistency, guys. Consistency is everything. So it's not a rush work. So we did it for that. For is it also changes to service black. I'll change it to our black. That's one. I'll change it to our blue. And of black blue are using notification. And that is that. So I want to teach you guys, since we have an image here. Okay, since we have an image here, I don't need to put another image here. So let me just this. We're only going to have these two. Let me bring in the grid of our content area so that we know where we are placing elements. So yeah, that is it, and I'm going to give this a different feel because this is not kind of visible because of the background color we have. So I'm going to click like this, place it here, and try to, let me say, give it a little bit of white, like light, between white and a lighter shade of blue, something like that. If it doesn't work, I keep on changing it till it fits. So let me remove this red square, and this is what we have. So as you can see, our dashboard is forming together little by little. So join me in the next video where we lay out our cards that shows the total number of courses, total number of students, total number of money in. So yeah, see you in the next video.